The fatal mistake. The story opens on the planet Vex Prime, capital world of the Vex Empire. The Vex are a proud alien race with blue skin and 4 arms, known for their military strength across the galaxy. They have ruled over dozens of worlds. For centuries, Ambassador Tom Reed arrives at Vex Prime aboard a small human diplomatic ship called the Harmony. He carries a simple message from Earth's government, an offer of trade and peaceful relations between humans and the Vex Empire. The humans are still new to space travel. Having only reached the stars 50 years ago, the Vex leadership meets in their Grand Council chamber. General Cax, the military leader, views humans as weak creatures who only recently learned to fly. Between stars, Commander Rix agrees, saying humans have no real weapons or fleets worth fearing. Prime Leader Nex decides the Vex Empire needs no trade with such a young species. Ambassador Reed stands before the council and speaks calmly. He explains that Earth wants only friendship and mutual benefit. He offers advanced medical technology and rare metals from human colonies in exchange for Vex star charts and energy crystals. General Cax laughs at the humans' words. He calls humans soft pink creatures who know nothing of real power. The other council members join in mocking the ambassador. They say humans are too weak to deserve respect from the mighty Vex Empire. Ambassador Reed remains calm despite the insults. He warns the Vex that refusing peaceful contact might lead to problems later. He explains that while humans prefer peace, they have survived wars and disasters on their homeworld for thousands of years. This warning angered General Cax greatly. He sees it as a threat from an inferior species. In a moment of rage, he draws his plasma weapon and fires at Ambassador Reed. The human diplomat dies instantly, his body falling to the council chamber floor. The other council members are shocked by Cax's action, but they do not punish him. Instead, they decide to destroy the human ship to hide their crime. Vex fighters attack the Harmony as it tries to leave orbit. The small diplomatic vessel explodes, killing all 12 crew members aboard. Prime Leader Nex declares that no one must know what happened. The Vex will claim the human ship suffered engine failure and exploded by accident. They believe the weak humans will accept this lie and never learn the truth. On Earth, the government waits for Ambassador Reed's return. Days pass with no word from the diplomatic mission. Finally, a Vex message arrives claiming the human ship exploded due to technical problems. They express false sympathy for the tragic accident. President Davis reads the Vex message in his office. Defense Minister Cole stands beside him, both men knowing something is wrong. The Harmony was a new ship with perfect engines. Such an explosion seems impossible. Secret agents working for Earth's intelligence service investigate the matter. They intercept Vex communications and discover the truth. The evidence shows that Ambassador Reed was murdered and his ship destroyed. On purpose, the Vex have committed an act of war against humanity. President Davis calls an emergency meeting of Earth's military leaders. Admiral Stone of the Space Fleet attends, along with General Hayes of the Ground Forces. They review the evidence and discuss their options. Some leaders suggest sending another diplomatic mission to resolve the crisis peacefully. Others argue that the murder of an ambassador demands a military response. The debate continues for hours. As Earth's government struggles with this decision, meanwhile, across human space, news of the ambassador's death spreads quietly. The full truth is kept secret, but rumors begin to circulate. Military bases receive orders to prepare for possible action. Shipyards start working around the clock to build new vessels. Admiral Stone reviews humanity's military strength. The human fleet consists of 300 warships, from small destroyers to massive battleships. Human marines train on 20 different worlds, ready for ground combat. The industrial capacity of 50 human colonies can produce weapons and supplies for a long war. The Vex Empire, unaware of these preparations, continues with normal activities. They believe their lie about the accident was accepted. General Cax receives praise from other military officers for his quick thinking in killing the human diplomat. President Davis makes his final decision after consulting with Earth's allies. He signs a classified order authorizing Operation Thunder Strike, a full military response to the murder of Ambassador Reed. The order is sent to Admiral Stone with the highest priority. Asterisk. The gathering storm Admiral Stone stands on the bridge of the battleship Retribution, humanity's most powerful warship. Through the viewing ports, he watches as a human fleet assembles at Staging Point Alpha, a secret base near the edge of Vex territory. Ships arrive from across human space, battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and support vessels. The fleet grows larger each day. The massive carrier Victory joins the formation, bringing 200 fighter craft. The heavy cruiser Justice arrives with its powerful railguns. Smaller ships like the destroyer Vengeance take their positions in the battle formation. Captain Ross commands the Retribution and reports to Admiral Stone. She informs him that all ships have received the classified mission briefings. Every crew member knows they are preparing to strike back at the Vex for murdering Ambassador Reed. On the planet below Staging Point Alpha, human Marines prepare for ground operations. Colonel Blake oversees the training as thousands of soldiers practice assault tactics. They study maps of Vex cities and military bases, learning how to fight on alien worlds. Back on Earth, President Davis meets with his War Cabinet Intelligence. Chief Ford presents new information about Vex military capabilities. The Vex Empire controls 43 star systems with over 200 worlds. Their fleet consists of roughly 500 warships of various classes. Defense. Minister Cole reviews the battle plans created by military strategists. Operation Thunderstrike will begin with simultaneous attacks on 12 key Vex systems. The goal is to cripple their military and industrial capacity quickly, before they can organize a proper defense. General Hayes discusses the ground invasion plans. Human Marines will capture important Vex worlds and establish military control. The civilian populations will not be harmed, but all Vex military forces must surrender or face destruction. Meanwhile, in Vex space, the Empire continues its normal activities. Trade ships move between worlds carrying goods and passengers. Military. Patrols guard the borders against pirates and raiders. No one suspects that a human fleet is gathering nearby. Prime Leader Nex reviews reports from across the Empire. The economy remains strong, and no external threats have been detected. He believes the problem with the humans was solved when General Cax killed their ambassador. General Cax himself commands the defense of Vex Prime. He has positioned the strongest ships in orbit around the capital world. Other military leaders have spread their forces across key systems. Believing this provides adequate protection, Commander Rix oversees intelligence operations for the Vex military. His agents report no unusual activity in nearby space. Human. Shipping appears normal, with cargo vessels moving between their colonies as always. The Vex have no idea that these cargo ships are actually warships in disguise. At Staging Point Alpha, Admiral Stone receives final orders from Earth. President Davis has authorized the attack to begin in 72 hours. All fleet commanders attend a final briefing, where they review their specific targets and objectives. The plan is complex but thorough. Task Force Alpha will strike at Vex Prime itself, targeting the capital and its defenses. Task Force Beta will attack the industrial world of Vex Secondary, destroying shipyards and weapons factories. Other task forces will hit military bases and supply depots across Vex territory. Captain Mills commands the stealth ship Shadow, which has been monitoring Vex communications for weeks. She reports that the enemy remains unaware of the approaching danger. Vex military forces continue their routine patrols and exercises. Human intelligence has mapped every Vex military installation and fleet position. Spy satellites secretly placed near Vex worlds provide real-time information about enemy movements. The humans know exactly where to strike for maximum effect. Admiral Stone walks through the corridors of his flagship, speaking with crew members. The sailors and officers are ready for battle. They understand that this mission will determine humanity's place in the galaxy. Either humans will be respected as equals, or they will be seen as victims. In the Marine quarters, Colonel Blake addresses his troops. He reminds them that they fight not just for revenge, but for justice. The Vex murdered an innocent diplomat who came in peace. Such crimes cannot go unpunished if humanity wants to survive. Among the stars. As the final preparations continue, supply ships deliver ammunition, fuel, and spare parts to the fleet. Medical ships prepare to treat wounded personnel. Communications specialists test the networks that will coordinate the complex attack. The countdown to operation. Thunderstrike enters its final phase. In less than 3 days, the Vex Empire will learn what happens when someone kills a human ambassador. Admiral Stone looks out at his assembled fleet and knows that history is about to change forever. Asterisk, Thunderstrike unleashed. The attack begins at exactly 0600 hours, Galactic Standard Time. Across 12 Vex star systems, human warships drop out of faster-than-light travel and immediately open fire. The Vex forces, caught completely off guard, struggle to respond to the coordinated assault. At Vex Prime, Admiral Stone's Task Force Alpha emerges from hyperspace near the capital world. The massive human fleet faces off against General Kex's defensive formations. The Vex have 30 warships protecting their homeworld, but the humans have brought 60 vessels to this battle. The Retribution fires first, its main guns launching heavy projectiles at the Vex flagship Dominator. The enemy ship's shields absorb. The first hits, but more human vessels join the attack. Within minutes, the Dominator explodes in a brilliant flash of light. General Cax, aboard his backup command ship, cannot believe what he sees. The humans, whom he considered weak and primitive, are destroying his forces with advanced weapons and superior tactics. His ships fire back desperately, but their energy beams had little effect on human armor. Captain Ross coordinates the assault from the Retribution's bridge. Human fighters swarm around Vex vessels, targeting their engines and weapon systems. The carrier Victory launches wave after wave of attack craft, overwhelming the enemy's defenses. On the surface of Vex Prime, ground-based defense systems try to protect the planet. Massive energy cannons fire at the human fleet, but most shots miss their targets. Human ships use electronic warfare to jam Vex targeting systems, making accurate fire nearly impossible. At Vex Secondary, Task Force Beta attacks the Empire's main industrial center. Captain Davis leads 12 human cruisers against the orbital shipyards where Vex warships are built. The massive construction facilities explode as human missiles find their targets. The Vex workers in the shipyards evacuate to emergency shelters as their workplace burns around them. Decades of military construction go up in flames within the first hour of the attack. The Empire's ability to replace lost warships has been severely damaged. Commander Rix tries to coordinate a defense from his command center on Vex Prime. His communications are filled with desperate calls for help from across the Empire. Every major military base is under attack simultaneously, and Vex forces cannot mount an effective response. The human assault demonstrates careful planning and superior technology, while Vex ships rely on energy weapons and particle shields. Human vessels use kinetic weapons that punch through enemy defenses. Rail guns fire metal projectiles at incredible speeds, tearing apart Vex armor. In the Zeta sector, Task Force Gamma attacks a major Vex military academy. The young cadets training. They're watching terror as human destroyers eliminate their instructors' ships. The lesson is clear. The Vex military doctrine is no match for human warfare. Prime Leader next receives reports of the attacks from his bunker beneath Vex Prime's surface. The scale of the human assault shocks him completely. He never imagined that killing one ambassador would provoke such a massive response. Colonel Blake's Marines prepare for ground operations as the fleet battle continues above. Transport ships wait for the order to begin landing operations on Vex worlds. The plan calls for occupying key military installations and government centers. Admiral Stone monitors the progress of all task forces from his command center. The attacks are proceeding ahead of schedule. Vex resistance has been lighter than expected, and human losses remain minimal. The element of surprise has worked perfectly. At the Vex Fortress world of Strongpoint, Task Force Delta engages the Empire's most elite military units. Even these experienced warriors cannot withstand the human assault. Their fortress shields collapse under bombardment from human siege weapons. The battle for space. Superiority continues across multiple star systems. Human commanders report successful strikes against Vex fleet bases, supply depots, and communication centers. The enemy's ability to coordinate their remaining forces has been severely compromised. General Cax makes a desperate attempt to rally his surviving ships. He orders all remaining Vex vessels to converge on Vex Prime for a final stand. However, human forces have already destroyed most of his fleet, and only scattered survivors respond to his call. The Retribution pursues fleeing Vex ships toward the outer planets of the Vex Prime system. Human fighters hunt down enemy vessels that try to escape. Admiral Stone has given clear orders. No Vex military ship must be allowed to carry word of human capabilities to other parts of the galaxy. As the first day of Operation Thunder strike draws to a close, the results are devastating for the Vex Empire. Over 60% of their military fleet has been destroyed or disabled. Their major industrial centers lie in ruins. The humans have achieved complete tactical surprise and overwhelming victory. Total dominance. Second day of Operation Thunderstrike begins with human marines landing on Vex worlds across the Empire. Transport ships descend through smoke-filled skies as orbital bombardments continue above. Colonel Blake leads the assault on Vex Prime's capital city, where the government buildings stand mostly empty. Vex civilians watch from their homes. As human soldiers march through their streets, the Marines follow strict orders to protect non-combatants while securing military and government facilities. Unlike their enemies, the humans show restraint and follow the rules of war. Prime leader Nex attempts to broadcast a surrender message from his underground bunker, but human electronic warfare has destroyed most communication systems. His words reach only a few scattered receivers across the Empire. The Vex government has lost the ability to coordinate any organized response. Admiral Stone receives reports from all task force commanders. The space battles are effectively over, with remaining Vex ships either destroyed or fleeing toward Galaxy's edge. Human forces now control the orbital space around 43 Vex worlds. General Cax makes his final stand aboard the crippled cruiser Warrior's Pride. His ship has lost engines and weapons, drifting helplessly near Vex Prime's largest moon. When human marines board his vessel, they find him sitting in his command chair, staring at the tactical display showing his empire's complete defeat. The human boarding party, led by Lieutenant Torres, places Cax under arrest for the murder of Ambassador Reed. The Vex general shows no resistance, seemingly broken by the magnitude of his defeat. He had never imagined that humans possessed such military capabilities. On Earth, President Davis watches the operation's progress from the Situation Room. Intelligence reports confirm that Vex military resistance has collapsed entirely. The Empire, that once mocked humanity's strength, now lies in ruins. Conquered in less than 48 hours, Captain Ross coordinates the occupation of Vex Prime's orbital stations. Human engineers begin repairing facilities that will serve as bases for ongoing operations. The infrastructure built by Vex workers over generations now serves their conquerors. Across the former Vex Empire, human administrators arrive to establish temporary military governments. Their orders are clear: maintain order, protect civilians, and document all war crimes committed by Vex forces. The evidence of Ambassador Reed's murder must be preserved for history. Commander Rick surrenders his intelligence headquarters to Colonel Blake's Marines. The captured Vex files contain complete records of the ambassador's assassination, including video recordings of General Cax firing the fatal shot. The evidence confirms what human agents had already discovered: the civilian population of Vex worlds reacts with confusion and fear to their new situation. Many had believed their military was invincible, making the sudden defeat almost impossible to comprehend. Human officials work to establish basic services and maintain order. Admiral Stone transfers his flag to Vex Prime's main orbital platform, now renamed Terran Station 1. From this former enemy facility, he oversees the final phases of the occupation. The symbolic importance of commanding from the Vex capital is not lost on anyone. Supply convoys from human space begin arriving to support the occupation forces. Medical ships treat wounded Vex civilians caught in the crossfire, demonstrating humanity's commitment to protecting innocent lives. This restraint contrasts sharply with Vex military behavior. The few surviving Vex warships that escaped the initial assault attempt to regroup at distant frontier bases. However, human hunter-killer squadrons pursue them relentlessly. These remnant forces lack the supplies and coordination needed for effective resistance. General Hayes arrives with additional ground forces to secure the conquered territories. The occupation requires significant manpower to maintain control over dozens of worlds. Human logistics networks expand rapidly to support this massive undertaking. Prime leader Next finally emerges from his bunker under a flag of truce. Colonel Blake accepts his formal surrender in a ceremony broadcast across the former empire. The Vex leader signs documents acknowledging his government's responsibility for Ambassador Reed's murder. The trial preparations begin immediately. Human legal experts arrive to prosecute war crimes committed by Vex officials. General Cax faces charges of murdering a diplomatic envoy, while other leaders answer for their role in covering up the crime. News of the Vex Empire's destruction spreads throughout the galaxy. Other alien civilizations watch in amazement as humanity demonstrates its military capabilities. The species once dismissed as weak newcomers has proven itself a formidable force. Captain Mills brings the stealth ship Shadow back to Earth, carrying complete intelligence files from Vex worlds. These documents reveal the Empire's true nature. A militaristic society built on conquest and the oppression of weaker species. As the fourth day of occupation begins, human forces have established complete control over former Vex territory. The empire that killed Ambassador Reed no longer exists, replaced by Terran military administration. Justice for the murdered diplomat has been achieved through overwhelming force. A new order 6 months after Operation Thunderstrike. The former Vex Empire has been completely transformed under human administration. The trials of war criminals have concluded, with General Cax and his accomplices facing justice for Ambassador Reed's murder. The galaxy has learned that attacking human diplomats brings swift and total consequences. Admiral Stone, now promoted to Fleet Admiral, oversees the integration of former Vex worlds into the growing Terran sphere of influence. Many Vex civilians have adapted to human rule, finding it more just and protective than their previous military dictatorship. The humans provide better medical care, education, and economic opportunities. The capital city on Vex Prime has been rebuilt as New Geneva, serving as the administrative center for the region. Human architects worked with Vex designers to create buildings that honor both cultures while symbolizing the new partnership between species. President Davis visits New Geneva for the dedication of the Ambassador Reed Memorial, a monument honoring all diplomats who died in service to peace. Vex children lay flowers at the memorial, having learned in their new schools about the importance of peaceful communication between different peoples. Colonel Blake, now General Blake, commands the Terran Defense Forces in the former Vex territory. His troops work alongside reformed Vex police to maintain order and protect civilians. Many young Vex have volunteered to serve in integrated military units, swearing loyalty to the principles of justice and peace. The economic transformation has been remarkable. Former Vex weapons factories now produce civilian goods and infrastructure materials. The shipyards that once built warships for conquest now construct peaceful vessels for trade and exploration. Industrial capacity that served war now serves prosperity. Captain Ross, promoted to Admiral, leads exploration missions beyond former Vex space. Her fleet makes contact with other alien civilizations, always following the diplomatic protocols established after Reed's death. The new first contact procedures ensure that future tragedies can be prevented on Earth. The Reed Doctrine becomes official policy for all human space operations. Any attack on human diplomats will result in immediate and overwhelming military response. The galaxy's various species have taken note of this policy and treat human ambassadors with appropriate respect. The Vex War Museum on New Geneva displays the complete history of the conflict, from Ambassador Reed's mission to the final surrender ceremonies. Vex and human children visit together, learning about the consequences of hatred and the importance of peaceful resolution to conflicts. Former Prime Leader Nex, serving a prison sentence for his role in the ambassador's death, has written a book about the war from the Vex perspective. His writings warn other species about underestimating humanity and emphasize the importance of treating all diplomatic missions with respect. The technological exchange between humans and former Vex subjects has benefited both civilizations. Human medical advances help Vex populations recover from generations of military oppression, while Vex energy crystal technology improves human space travel capabilities. Trade routes established through former Vex space have connected human colonies with distant alien markets. The economic benefits of conquest have been shared with Vex worlds, creating prosperity that never existed under the old empire's military rule. Admiral Stone retires from active duty and becomes the first human ambassador to the reformed Vex Federation. His appointment symbolizes the transformation from military conquest to diplomatic partnership. Former enemies work together to build a better future. The galactic community has fundamentally changed its perception of humanity. What began as contact with seemingly weak newcomers has evolved into recognition of a major power committed to justice and peaceful cooperation. Human diplomatic missions are now welcomed throughout known space. Intelligence reports indicate that several aggressive alien civilizations have abandoned plans to attack human colonies after witnessing the Vex Empire's fate. The demonstration of human military capabilities has created a powerful deterrent effect that protects human settlements across the galaxy. The University of New Geneva, joint operated by human and Vex educators, conducts research into interspecies relations and conflict prevention. Students from dozens of different worlds study together, learning to build bridges between cultures rather than walls. President Davis concludes his memoirs with reflections on the Reed incident and its aftermath. He writes that humanity's response demonstrated both the terrible consequences of murdering diplomats and the possibility of redemption through justice and reconciliation. As the story ends, Ambassador Reed's legacy lives on in the peaceful relations between humanity and its former enemies. His death, though tragic, ultimately led to the creation of a more just and stable galactic order. The Vex Empire's destruction became the foundation for a better tomorrow. The memorial services held annually on the anniversary of Reed's death bring together representatives from across the galaxy. His sacrifice is remembered not just as a tragedy, but as the catalyst that taught the universe an important lesson about respecting those who serve peace. The galaxy learned that humanity, while preferring peace, possesses both the capability and will to defend its principles with overwhelming force when necessary. Asterisk.